Okay, I welcome all of you, all the venerables and the devotees for the English Dhamma discussion. So what we do here is take a kind of topic from the Sagatha Vagga of Samyutta Nikaya, Connected Discourses of the Buddha, and then we are trying to elaborate that and get some guidance from that teaching. And today we have a sutta called Anoma Sutta. I'll recite the Pali verse and then I invite Venerable Dhammalankara to recite the Sinhala meaning, and then Venerable Dhammosada to explain Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation, and then we'll have a kind of a discussion. So it goes like this. So actually it is mere explanation given by one deity. Anomanamang nipunatta dassing panya dadang kamalaye asattang tam passata sabba vidung sumedhang ariye pathe kammanang mahesinti.
Sri Swaminatha, Sanyukta Nikaya Palamuna Puttvahanse Aditya Vagya Anoma Sutre. Anoma Sutre Devi Piripun Nam Mati Sium Arut Dakna Sulu Nuwana Dena Kama Vastunhi Noelunu Sialla Danna Mana Nuwana Ati Arya Marge Higia U E Maharshihu Balava.
Nuwana Dena Kama Vastunhi Noelunu Arut Dakna Sulu Nuwana Dena. Nuwana Dena Kama Vastu neme. It has to be Arut Dakna Sulu Nuwana Dena Kama Vastunhi Noelunu. So you have to divide like that. So there are, we can't say that the Kamalaye Asattang. Panya Dadang, Nipunatta Dasing Panya Dadang. So he is a giver of wisdom. The person is a giver of wisdom. So Nuwana Dena. So he is distributing the wisdom. That is a separate meaning. Then Kamalaye Asattang means there are sensuous objects which are typically beings bound to. Now this person has no such attachment.
Shall I repeat it?
Oh yeah.
Piripun nam ati sium arut dakna sulu nuwana dena
Anhare.
Kama vastunhi noelunu siyalla danna mana nuwana ati arya margehi giya u e maharshihu balava.
Sai Swamin Wahanse, this sutta is translated as perfect. Perfect. One Devata said, "Behold him of perfect name, the seer of the subtle goal, the giver of wisdom, unattached to the lair of sensual pleasures. Behold the wise one, all-knowing, the great seer, treading the noble path."
Treading.
Yeah, treading.
Yeah, treading the noble path.
Yeah.
So actually, I mean, very concise but extremely deep. Whole path is here, extremely concise but given a full-fledged meaning. Excellent. So Anoma Namang, so that's a name, it's a perfected one. Nipunatta Dassing, the one who can see the subtle meanings. He's a very, extremely intellect. He has an extremely good intellectual capacity, so he can see the subtle meanings. The others are unable to see, so he can penetratively look at the very subtle meanings. Nipunatta Dassing, Panya Dadang. He's a giver of wisdom. He's distributing the wisdom. He's preaching the Dhamma. Now we can say this is about the Buddha. So he's a giver of wisdom to the world, right? Panya Dadang. Kamalaye Asattang. So the Kama is a sensuous object, sensuous different whatever the pleasures. For that he has no any attachment. He has given up that. Kamalaye Asattang, and all the different sensuous objects are there, but Asattang, he has no any attachment. He has no any grasping to any of those. Tam passata sabba vidung sumedang. So look at that person who has complete understanding about the world, who has penetrated the world. Sumedang, he is the knowledgeable one, he is the wise one. Ariye pate kammanang mahesinti, who is treading the noble path. What is the kamma part included there? Any? Yeah. Kammapate Ariye Pate Kamamana Mahesinti.
Yeah, it says unattached to the layer of sensual pleasure.
That's all, no?
Yeah.
So this Kammapate Kammanang is not included like. In Sinhala one also there is nothing included the term Kammanang, but the meaning is given based on the other text. Anoma Nama. Now the Buddha is given a name called Anoma. I don't know the name Anoma has any particular specific meaning. Anoma Nama, Anoma, named after his perfect virtue or knowledge. So I am referring one Pali dictionary. So it says Anoma, named after his perfect virtue or knowledge, found as an epithet of Gautama and Padumuttara Buddha, possibly alluding to Thama and Uttara.
Yes, Swaminatha, there is a note about that Anoma.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yes, it says one of perfect name, Anoma Nama, of undefective name, of complete name, because the Buddha possesses all excellent qualities.
He's the excellent one.
Yeah.
Something like that. Perfected one. So Anoma is the perfected one. Now, so the sutta name is also Anoma Sutta, no? So Bhikkhu Bodhi has given the perfect. The name as perfect. So Anoma means perfect. Anoma. Interesting.
As Swaminatha, speaking of the perfected one, having seen the subtle goal.
Subtle goal?
Yes, the subtle goal.
Is to perfect ourselves. Is that what?
Right. And when we meditators are practicing and we understand, we have heard that to see this thing called ego, to see this I that we keep on building popping in ourselves, it's very difficult. And this is one of the subtle things that the Buddha has penetrated.
Exactly. He
sees through the I that there is no being there. It's just causes and conditions, minds arising and passing away. And this reminds me of the term Atammayata.
Atammayata, exactly. So when you are telling it, immediately came to my mind Atammaya. Good that you
always associating. When we meditate and we feel something,
we always want to become someone, and we want to be something.
Yes, and we feel that this is me who is feeling this. There's always a person there. There's always reference to a being who is seeing, hearing. In
simple terms, identification. Some form of identification. Always want to identify with something. Okay, I am like this. I am like this. I am this, something like that. So, I mean, having a complete unattached, completely unbound, just the purity, just being in purity without making anything, without I making within it. I mean, it's in a way kind of a supreme thing. Because our tendency is to prepare a self out of anything. So we are bound to prepare a self and own something out of anything. We don't need a very sophisticated thing to say, okay, this is mine. But even a subtle thing is enough. I can remember one venerable from Thailand, one Achan. He was saying even a water pebble or water bubble is enough for you to attach. You don't need really extreme gems or jewels or something. But even that, maybe your mind go and attach. Oh, this is my water bubble, my water pebble, whatever like that. So even that can cause identification. So very subtle actually, extremely subtle. So how we are in a way guarding the mind without allowing to go and latch with anything, go and attach with anything, just maintaining the perfect purity, not doing anything in a way. So if we do anything, things will get messed up, isn't it? So I mean, not the immediate stage. We are not talking the immediate stage. At first we need to do a lot. Because the mind is totally tangled, mind is completely deluded. So at that moment we have to work hard to at least recognize an undeluded, unattached, non-grasping state of mind. We only have heard it but never has experienced it, isn't it? So we have heard about it from Satipatthana everywhere. So Anissitoja Vihirati, we have heard it. We have to live without attaching to anything, without holding to anything, without grasping anything, and the complete independent state of mind. We have heard it, but never has experienced it. We might have even experienced, but we never have appreciated it. But the Dhamma help us to again and again arrive there, stay there, dwell there. Then only we become somewhat, aware of it. Okay, there is a kind of a mental state. Okay, there is no person, there is no me, there is no myself, and there is no any stress, there is no any attachment, there is no any burden. Quite relax. So, okay, we now recognize, okay, this is a very good state to recognize. This is a kind of a good state to be, to dwell. So the typical tendency is I ignore it because there is no I making, mind making, there is no any self-referencing, egoistic, promotion. Nothing is there. So we feel like boring and no motivation to be there, completely like lost. So that is how egocentric thinking is valuing the system, judging the system. So our value judgments are fully self-based. Our value judgments are completely egocentric. But this state is completely out of that. So we have to think in a radical way how to appreciate such a egoless state, selfless state, isn't it? Unattached state. How to value that? It's going against the grain. So assume that once we arrive there and slowly dwell there, try to stabilize there or consolidate that state, then probably you can see, okay, how ignorantly again I-making happens. How ignorantly again mind-making happens. So your way of thinking is completely different now. You are looking at from a completely different angle now. Your perspective has completely changed. Previously, ignorantly, we were making a self, boosting a self. But now, while being in a completely selfless state, we are trying to recognize how ignorantly I happens. I is made. Mine is made. Isn't it? So this selfless state is what we have to make perfect as much as possible in a way. So the more we are free from defilements, so this state has to be very much like a natural state. Currently maybe someone is approaching it, arriving it with purpose, with effort, but more and more as we continue, it has to be almost like no effort. So we are simply there with no effort. Simply just there with no effort. The moment we add an effort, it's another sankhara at that time. So because we are simply there, nothing is there, just be very calm, very relaxed, no person, no being, no I manifestation. That the moment, what's going on? That's another I making. Additional effort, excess effort, unnecessary effort. So the path has to be very much like effortless as we are proceeding.
Swaminathan say in Malunkyaputta Sutta.
Malunkyaputta. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said Malunkyaputta, who at the end of that sutta becomes an arahant.
Mm-hmm.
He says to the Buddha that once you know something, you've already been swept away by this view of I.
Uh-huh.
Once you know something, you perceive something.
Correct.
When one is mindful, one is just knowing.
Correct.
Just knowing, not knowing this or knowing that, just pure consciousness, just knowing.
Exactly.
So once you know something,
yes, something, special thing.
You're already fabricating things. You've
Exactly.
already been swept by the flood of I.
No, the thing is beautifully. Now that the pure consciousness or unestablished consciousness, anidassana vijnana, that's unestablished consciousness state, is not established on any particular thing. It hasn't made anything, right? So it's a kind of pervaded awareness. It's a complete unbounded awareness. So the moment that we fabricate, the moment that we locate our attention, select something, then we are objectifying. We are making something, then we are trapped. We lost. So our pervaded awareness, that conscious awareness, is now very much like deformed to a very restricted, very narrow object. So we being confined. So I have done, I again now appear. Okay, I see you, I see Osada. Because now there are many people assume that many things are there. So why I particularly pay attention to you and name you, you are Osada. Then little kind of a trapping is there. Kind of a trap, confinement, imprisoning. So the awareness being imprisoned like. So but how about having just a mere awareness, pervaded awareness? Just a conscious awareness?
So I'm not saying in the Sinhala discussion, I had a lot of asosa, prasosa.
Asasa, pasasa. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
in breath and out breath.
Yes, in breath and out breath.
Yes, I think this practice as described in the Anapanasati Sutta, it's a very special place to begin for a meditator.
Exactly.
Because once if they are really serious and they take the instruction seriously to just let the breath be what it is. If it is short, it is short. If it is long, it is long. If it is neither, it is neither. And it is at this point that the meditator starts to understand that there is a state where you can just let things be without having an intention to do anything.
Exactly.
And once this meditator does that, he just lets go of wanting to control things, then they start to see, the mind is one thing and the body is another thing. And I think this is where the meditator starts to have some faith in the Dhamma.
Exactly.
What the Buddha said, it's true. And you can not be attached to things, and then the Dhamma will just start happening on its own.
Actually, this Anapanasati Sutta is good for beginners, good for the middle people, good for the experts. It has the full comprehensive path. Complete path is there in Anapanasati Sutta. So we can't say it is for beginners. Even for the experts, it is the sutta. Because it has the last part. Now say you are talking about the Bojjhangas, how to develop Bojjhangas, and later the stage where you are simply maintaining that state, unattached state, by having Bojjhanga at another different way of controlling or rather development. Viveka Nisitang, Viraga Nisitang, Nirodha Nisitang, Vassagga Parinaming. That's another level of development of the Bojjhanga. And ultimately achieving Vijjaya and Vimutti, knowledge and freedom, Nibbana. This one concise sutta has the complete path.
So, answer, I have a question regarding the previous discussion. So, answer, I think it's very sensitive place, the doing meditation and the being meditation, then the effortful and the effortless. Then one yogi start and then let's say the walking meditation, then automatically he feel the walking. He is not forcefully, but he feel how the body is walking. And the breath also, now not effortful, effortlessly he identify the breath in breath and the out breath like that way. Then the question is, then some yogis, because of the concentrations and all, they like absorb to that without the control, and because of that the body is dancing and something is happening. So that thing the yogi should understand, Swaminathan said, and you should forcefully stop that way. But to some extent, the correct yogi should allow to happen. No,
that also.
That is a different story, and this is a different story.
Yes.
That's what I want to say.
So at the beginning, now say for example, as the rupture arise, piti arise, so it also manifests as a bodily phenomena. Say kind of goosebumps can happen, and tingling sensations can happen. All that kind of very different bodily phenomena also possible when mind is attaining even first jhana, second jhana, or even in vipassana, in anapanasati, you attain the piti sukha. All that area has certain amount of bodily phenomena. But the beauty is, as a result of the practice, it has to calm down. Passambhayan chitta sankhara. That is the stage of the Vedanānupassana, the last stage. Buddha mentioned, Passambhayan chitta sankharang asati samti sikkati. All those phenomena are calmed down, relaxed. So now the body has to be stable, isn't it? So that is where we are. Sometimes what happens is, so that samadhi states overwhelm the body. The body being a victim of that samadhi, very extensive type of samadhi. So that is where we go wrong. So intense samadhi can overwhelm the body. That is where we have to balance in a way. So when things are balanced, so things are very smooth. The body and the mind is well equipoised in a very good equilibrium. So that is what I refer the sutta called Kappina Sutta in the Anapanasati Samyutta. So Buddha is referring Venerable Kappina. You see, monks, have you ever seen any kind of a bodily movement, any kind of a vibration, any kind of an agitation in this Venerable Kappina when he is in this samadhi? Then the other monks say, Bhante, either in public, either in private, whenever he sits like a statue. No movements. That is the Anapanasati Samadhi. You see? So the agitations of the body can happen, of course, to limited extent, but with the practice, that also has to be completely abandoned. The body may remain very calm, very quiet. Mind may remain very calm, quiet. That is the perfect kind of a samadhi. That's why we need to, these suttas are giving enough evidence for us to clear the path. Because sometimes we misunderstand, okay, the body may have to behave in a ignorant way, like rolling and bumping and jumping and all those yogic postures. So the body is doing, I simply have to watch it without doing anything. No, I don't think. We have to be conscious about it, because it can go to even the hyperactivity at the end. So I have some experience coming from certain yogis, and so they have gone to this extreme, and ultimately they have to consult the doctors. So that is where something we need to be careful. So rather than allowing the extreme type of samadhi, the concentrated states overwhelm the body, we need to recognize, okay, now things are out of control. We have gone out of bound. So Buddha haven't encouraged it. Instead, Buddha has shown an example of Venerable Kappina. No agitations, no bodily movements. His body is completely perfectly stay as it still. Isn't it? Body is maintaining the stillness. Mind also still, body also still. Very much like that. So that is the perfect balance. That's what I feel we need to take as the guide. Any comments? Kumara, you have any your participation?
Yeah, there is one person raise his hand, Bhante.
Yeah, please, we can give him the chance.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Bandula, you can talk now.
Sorry, Bhante.
Yeah.
I have just one question about the last thing you mentioned about agitation of body. Bhante, I have noticed most of the time when I am sitting, the upper body, my head drops, and when I stop the meditation, say like after 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I know my head is totally down. So was it like it's a sort of like it's an agitation of body, or well, I'm not doing it purposely.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is a habit, or it is doing without my intention. It looks like it's doing without any intention.
Yeah.
So was it to be something to be concerned, or would it be a natural thing?
Yeah, it's a natural thing, because there are many such yogis as they are continuing the vipassana. There could be a kind of a stage their head bends, or even the whole body bends, but it is not a kind of a constant agitated state, but simply stay quiet. But they have to be vigilant. They shouldn't become unconscious. Rather, they have to be vigilant. Okay, now the body is bending, but there is no any kind of inner agitation. There is no mental agitation, but the body is kind of bending. It is taking a kind of a change, kind of going through a kind of a transition. We can allow it, but later, with time, it may correct itself. Or you can purposely correct it, deliberately correct it without disturbing the samadhi. Because there are different transitional levels where the body is also supporting that transition by doing some adjustments. But what I have mentioned is not exactly this. This is a kind of an intermediate state where one may experience as the kind of the mind is maturing, or that unattached state is fairly maturing. But later the mind also become very relaxed. The body also has to become very relaxed. And one thing you can do is you can find a chair or something so that the body safely residing, safely sitting, so that in case it wants to fall, it can't fall because it is lean to a chair. That kind of a strategy can be used.
Thank you, Bhante. I have one more thing, Bhante. This is about the today's talk. That Anissitocha Viharati, and Bhante, you mentioned about Anidasana. This Anissitocha Viharati is the state. I'm just very basic to go to the practice. So when the walk is doing by itself, so we have no intention, just the walk happening by itself. So is that sort of state is mentioned Anissitocha, or if you can give a little bit practical aspects, would be, thank you.
No, actually, Anissita state or independent state is a result of Vipassana, where one is practicing any kind of a Satipatthana. So the idea is, first of all, we are establishing our mindfulness. Our attention is established on some kind of a phenomena. And the second stage is we have to investigate that phenomena. So this investigation is the path to develop wisdom in a way. So once that wisdom is developed, its characteristic is the letting go. It's a kind of a natural letting go. It is not that we purposely abandon things. Rather, it's a natural letting go process will initiate as a result of this understanding. So this wisdom, the result of this wisdom is the detachment, letting go, relinquishment. So once things are relinquished, then we simply say, okay, mind is independent, mind is not attached to anything, mind is freed. Now we call it is unestablished. It's not established at anywhere. It is not grasping anything. It is not located onto anything. It is not landed upon anything. It is completely unestablished. So that unestablished state is what we call as Anidassana Vijnana, Appatitthita Vijnana. So those are the terms used. And it is also independent. It is not dependent on any kind of a conditioned phenomena. It is almost like unconditioned. So we can't simply say that one may come to this stage immediately just because of the Satipatthana very first stage, but what we are arriving may be gradually independent. At one level, it has some gross phenomena which are not hindering it, which are not disturbing it. Later, there may be even another level. Even the subtle phenomena are not present. That also not disturbing. Subtle phenomena are also absent. So that mind has complete clarity, complete unattached, complete purity is there. Something like that. It's a kind of a gradual purification.
So, Bhante, is there any samadhi behind that state, or there's no samadhi?
Yeah, there
so
can
because
be.
In the practice, you go to a state like, so you leave the object. There's no sensation of the object, or you don't feel anything there. Is it so? That means is the Anissitocha Viharati means is there any sort of like a samadhi. Unification? Is like a samadhi or not?
It can, because while you are dwelling there, while you are being there, that non-grasping itself can convert to a samadhi, what we sometimes call as the signless concentration, animitta samadhi, or appanihita samadhi, desireless concentration, or sunyata samadhi, the emptiness concentration. So those are the results of the vipassana, but has the qualities of a samadhi, but without an object.
So into day to day, is it possible to come to that state, or is it like you have to practice like you experience that while you are in the sitting or walking state, or is it?
I would say,
you can experience it.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. The teachers are saying So at the beginning it appears like kind of a very limited type of a samadhi. Animitta samadhi, it is still vulnerable, it's still fragile, you can lose it and it is not yet stable. But as you continue, it can become stable samadhi, and later it can become very natural samadhi. It is not that you are purposely arriving it, but it becomes a kind of a pervaded awareness. It is there, it is natural, it is available, it is accessible once you are open to it, once you are, stepped into it, something like that. So it is then, sometimes we use the term like Cheto Vimutti, freedom of mind. It is not a concentrated, very bounded, limited state. Rather, it is a very pervaded, spreaded, boundless state.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. So deep area, by the way, very, very interesting, quite challenging, and in a way we can say a crux of Vipassana.
Swaminathan, when a meditator has been meditating for a while, a few months or a few years, even though they cannot say that they have arrived at Nibbana, they're still able to discern a progression.
Exactly.
Like at one time, they are not agitated by such kinds of things. At a different time, the agitation is still there, but it just keeps lessening and lessening and lessening.
Exactly.
So at one time, one may think, I am equanimous to something. And then it kind of feels like they become even more equanimous. So they think, that equanimous I thought was there, that was not equanimous. Now it's equanimity.
Now it's a better equanimity.
And then at a later time, it becomes even more
equanimous. Exactly.
So it's like there are levels of equanimity.
Exactly.
It just keeps getting subtler and subtler. It goes deeper and deeper.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's why. So we can't. That's why I said immediately once you simply recognize the kind of unattached, non-grasping state, we can't say, okay, I have perfected it. It's a gradual purification. It's gradual perfecting things. So gradual development. So what you experience as quite unattached, non-grasping state, say 1 year ago, 2 years ago, may be quite different from what you are experiencing today. If you continue the practice, so that if the continuity happens, so you can compare. Okay, 1 year ago there was a kind of unattached state, but different from what I experience today. Something like that. So kind of a gradual refinement is there, as you correctly mentioned. So that is showing some improvement in a way, kind of a progression. It's even though there are no huge salient features, but still kind of a, in mentally one can experience kind of a progress, very little progress, little refinement is there. Yeah, very interesting. So those are also necessary for us to evaluate, in a way, assess. Then only we can see, okay, my practice is leading towards the perfection in a way. In today's terms, in today's Sutta term, the practice is leading towards perfection, even though I am not yet perfect. So as much as possible in the present moment, let me be perfect without me. If I am there, not perfect. So for things to be perfect, I shouldn't be there. If I am there, things are not perfect. I find various issues, I am not happy, I need something to be fulfilled and some project to complete. Some stressful things are there because I am here. The presence of I is there. Whenever the presence of I is there, unhappiness, frustration, restlessness, agitation, all are available. But the moment there is no I, calmness, relaxation, happiness, satisfaction, kind of fulfillment, those are there.
Paminant said to respond to what the last gentleman asked, if it is possible to have samadhi in day-to-day life. It just makes me appreciate the setting of a place such as the one where we are in, a monastery, it gives a meditator the opportunity to still live day-to-day life. We do normal things, we eat, we bathe, we work. That is day-to-day life. But that gives us the opportunity to practice and to cultivate this concentration or mindfulness or whatever. But I know it is different for people who are living out there. They have family and work. That is their day-to-day life. And here we have our day-to-day life. So I think a short, straight answer to his question, whether it is possible in day life, yes, it is possible in day-to-day life to cultivate samadhi.
But as you pointed out, so if there are many situations that your mind is being agitated, many sensual objects are there agitating you, inviting you, bombarding the mind, then it may be difficult, isn't it? So there's a continuous oppression of various sensual desires and all that thing. Then your calmness of the mind is often disturbed. You again have to practice, but one day you definitely have to. That's why, typically what I used to say is, okay, you don't stop going to the office, you go to the office. There may be situations, there may be arguments, there may be disturbances, but after coming back home, okay, again relax, again calm down, again neutralize, again you attain that calmness, relaxation, unattached state, again season that. So then one day you become more and more seasoned. Even now at the office you can maintain that calmness amidst all these ups and downs, amidst all the arguments, amidst all these different hindrances, disturbances, still the mind maintains that calmness. So that is where the refinement. So we can't simply say, I would like to say there should be a kind of a hidden time, a separate time for one person who is completely escaped from the society, at least for a limited time. Without it, very difficult to complete. Without it, very difficult to reinforce ourselves. But later, he has to, time to time, access the society as well, access the city as well, and see how the mind is behaving. Whether it can maintain that calmness, whether it can withstand that agitation, whatever coming from the society. Maybe in a supermarket, maybe in a bus, traveling and all that. So whatever agitation we are exposed to, will it be able to withstand that based on our practice? So that is another area for us to explore. So actually reason my traveling is a kind of an opportunity for me to test whether I can, say, during the air travel, waiting at a lobby, waiting at airport. Now all that are giving some kind of an agitation, some impatience, and you going through some security check. All that are kind of stressful. They ask various questions sometimes. They want to just touch your body and see whether you have any hidden things. All that are making little bit kind of an agitation. But how can I bear it? How can I go through it without agitating? And sometimes things are uncertain. So how can I bear it? Things are, the experiences are quite new. I am not used to some experience. Then how can I go through it? Now these are difficult in a way. But going through it and giving some kind of a strength, reinforcement to our understanding, to our practice in a way. So that's why I feel slowly we have to explore those areas as well. Explore the unknown as well. It gives us some kind of a reinforcement rather than simply confine ourselves to a very limited, our comfort zone, expand in the comfort zone. Currently we may have a limited comfort zone and we don't want to go out of that comfort zone. But going out of that, our so-called comfort zone, broaden our horizon. Challenging in a way, challenging. But I feel there's a kind of an improvement there as well. Without confining to a very limited comfort zone, going to different areas and accessing it, bearing it, dealing with it, but still maintaining the calmness is challenging, but something we need to explore. What do you think?
Yes, I do see some sense in that, and therefore I would like to ask whether if one of the monks would approach you and say, Bhante, I want to go away for maybe 2 or 3 years, live in solitude, and then come back.
Solitude. I'm not meant here solitude.
Okay, maybe they can live in the monastery, but their work can be reduced to some certain extent, and
their what?
Their work, the duties.
Right.
And they ask to be exempted from, some daily routines just for that period of time, so that they can,
spend more time on practice.
Yes. Would you allow that? Would you accept?
No, actually it depends on the person. Depends on the person. So if I find, okay, this person has completely agitated mind, he hasn't developed his mind through the practice, so he needs complete seclusion to look after himself, because he has to practice from the beginning, because his mind is completely agitated, then definitely I have to allow him. But there may be another person who has gone through some amount of practice and he is capable of dwelling in this unattached, boundless and state, then it's a matter of refining that. For that refinement, you need to recognize as much as possible the defilements. The defilements is the culprit here now. It is not that you don't have any kind of the inner wisdom. Inner wisdom is there, but still the defilements are available. So you need to cut off the defilements. So the more you are able to recognize the defilements and act upon them, more you will be able to maintain that calm state without effort. So recognizing defilements has to be the primary concern. So in such case, if that monk is asking, then I say no. So this is a good environment for you to practice. There are enough disturbances are coming. Every day people are asking this and that. Okay, how to handle that? How we are going through that? Okay, they are giving us a trouble. How you go through that? So it happened to me. In 2016 or 17, Bhante Dhammajiva put me onto an administrative task. Okay, you have to take care of monks' duties and you have to conduct the retreats. I was minding my own business. I'm just at Kuti 22, not involved with anything. Then all of a sudden, okay, I was exposed to this and that. So it was quite agitating. Certainly. Even the time to meditate being reduced, and all the problems are coming to me. People are asking various questions, and those are also something to concern, and sometimes things are happening not the way I want. And with time, sometimes my mind expects some kind of a respect with the as the monkhood is growing. So the people are sometimes not giving that respect. They neglect, they ignore. So that also another area to get agitated. All these things are there to handle in a way, promoting kind of a selfhood, kind of a self-centered thinking. So how to handle that? How to tackle that? All are giving some kind of an opportunity to recognize the defilements. So that's why it's a hard way. I can't say it's a rose path. It's not a easy path. We are navigating the path through the disturbances, through the hindrances, through various ups and downs, but navigating towards the perfection, I would say. We shouldn't give up. Time to time we have to come to our seclusion. In case we find, okay, I am not balancing too much work, too many things, okay, you have to find some kind of a solace. But if you feel, okay, now I am again ready, okay, expose again and see whether can withstand. Something like that. So going from this end to the other end, maintaining kind of a balance. In one end we can say seclusion. Other end we can say the work, the duties, involvement. So how we navigate the path by make use of both sides. Mere hard seclusion, I feel, is something. And complete involvement, agitation, all that another thing, but making use of both, how to progress. I feel that gives us a kind of a very good perspective of our practice. Hard, by the way, difficult, challenging, balancing. Oh, Sadha.
Yes, so today's verse is praising the Buddha. He has all these things we have talked about. He has seen through all of them. He has become the perfect one. Just one verse in today's sutta covering everything.
Every aspect. That's what I also thought. So even though the verse is very short, it's very, very deep, very, very profound. Panya dadang. He's a giver of wisdom.
So, I also think to add comments on
agitation.
Agitation. The balance. We can talk balance about days. It's I think a huge topic. Anyway, the Osho told about the balance in the solitude life and the day-to-day workings and other duties, and how should we balance, and if we need more solitude, then we can go to the balancing the solitude life and the duties, and how should we balance. Then if we are not able to practice because of so many duties, then we have to go to the peaceful place, and that way. And too much of solitude life is not going to work. So again, feel lethargic and feel to sleep, and then no one is there to disturb. No, because of duties, then we can't sleep, and we have so many works, and
especially in Nissarana, thing is, what I found is in Nissarana the typical environment is little lethargic. The environment that is more humid and more raining and all that. If there are no duties, monks used to sleep more. Because the environment is giving that opportunity. Okay, you sleep a lot, but the more the duties you have to go against that trend. That lethargic, very gloomy environment has to be broken. You have to penetrate it. You have to rise. You have to go through something like that. So therefore, it has to have kind of a balance. Otherwise, monks used to, various kind of health issues. They start thinking about that. They find fault with someone else. So all these another areas are there for them to get involved, especially the health issues. Because mind requires something to think, some area to worry, something to worry.
Yeah, so and not only health and mental issues that can be happen because of arguments can be happen with others and all those stuff. And the outside people, lay peoples, they want to think about the office life and the practice and how should they practice, and there is a different area how to balance that life. And that our lay life, then lay people, how to balance about the meditation and our dana and that things. And some people doing so many rituals and doing that, and then miss the meditation life. And someone doing only the meditation and don't do any rituals and such. Sometimes that also not going to work.
I also agree. In a way, that's why the wisdom and the faith has to be balanced, no?
Yeah.
So the faith gives you a kind of a very, very beautiful, very lubricant, very, very soft path. Wisdom gives you a very wise, investigative path. So these two also has to be balanced. If you are completely, purely with vipassana, without any kind of this kind of a lubricant, then it's a very dry path. You feel like dry every time finding fault, and you are not happy. Every time something to accuse. No happiness. On the other hand, only the faith is there, then no wisdom. You are more into the rituals. You are totally into rituals. That's also not going to work. So therefore, balancing faith and wisdom is also some concern we have to be care of.
It's a huge areas, actually. Practically, how can we apply these things to our life? Otherwise, listen Shraddha, Virisati, Samadhi, Prajna, and not just listening by those things, but in day-to-day life, how should we practice? And because of so many issues, and then we can identify this should be the adjustment, and we should do like this, and then sometimes we have to listen to the Dhamma sermons, and those things actually.
Everything is there.
Yeah, that actually one should have a body knowledge, and now I'm going to seek. Then now should take some precaution for this and having some kasaya or something like that. Likewise also, then we should have some common sense to balance our mental and physical things.
Definitely. Fully agreed.
Right.
Fully agreed. Kumara, you have any question from your side? Or we can wind up?
Avasare Bante, no, nobody is from this side there.
Okay. So I think we have spent a fair amount of time today. I mean, rather than going to a new verse, I felt we can wind up the session, and I invite Venerable Dhammosada to conduct the sharing of merits.
Asrai Swamin Wahanse, for all the merits we have accrued today, teaching, listening, discussing the Dhamma, we would like to extend them to our teachers, our parents, our relatives. May they rejoice in these merits. May they rejoice in our merit making. May all devas rejoice in our merit making. May all celestial beings protect the Dhamma exposition and the Buddha's dispensation for a long time. And may the seeds of Dhamma we have received grow, producing path, fruition, and Nibbana. I invite everyone to join in the recitation of the traditional Pali verses for the sharing of merits.